Hello, my name is Daniel Pinedo. Welcome to Be a Leader podcast, where we talk about things going on through the lens of leadership, whether it's in military, sports, or business. So today we're going to talk about Chauncey Billups and the scandal that's happening in the NBA. And this one hurts because I am a Chauncey Billups fan. I watched the Detroit Pistons in the 2000s, the early times, even though I lived in Spurs country. I was a big Chauncey Billups fan. So this one hurts. But let's just talk a little bit about the context and then we'll dive in, okay? So, when we think about Chauncey Billups, we think about the definition of composure. Okay, he was a finals MVP. He won in 2004. He was this close to winning in 2005. I was at game 7 of that one in San Antonio. But 2004, he was part of that Lakers group, or he was part of the Detroit Pistons, who beat a very star-heavy Lakers group. He was their team MVP, finals MVP. He was called Mr. Big Shot because he was really good under pressure, whether that was a three-point line, and he made automatic free throws. There was a lot of trust in him. He led the team. He was very cool under pressure. And so that's what he was known for. But now things look very different. The pressure for him feels very different. He just got arrested a few days ago in connection with an illegal gambling operation. Oh, man. Using his fame to fish in people to gamble, play poker, and everything was fake. Fake cards, fake shuffle maker, fake tables. Everything was staged. It was rigged games to make money. And he was part of that. So this is the allegations, of course, where we're at right now. But suddenly someone who was very trusted in leading teams in the sports world is accused of betraying that trust. So this episode is not going to talk about whether he's guilty or innocent. It's, again, a leadership lens. What can we learn as leaders? Okay. How do reputation, character, decision-making, how do all those collide when the spotlight turns off? Okay. And what happens to a leader when their private choices undo a lifetime of credibility? All right, so let's dive into that. So the first question is the one I think of when I heard this. My brother messaged me this, and I couldn't believe it. And the first question is, how could this have happened? How could this have happened? How could Chauncey Billups have allowed himself to be in a position to where he's arrested? He's a current he was a coach for a Portland Trail Blazers, right? So an NBA team for a few years. And what led Chauncey down this path? Okay. And you know me, it always starts with values. It starts with values. Okay, we need to lead ourselves first. We have the power to lead ourselves first, okay? We go back to the NBA Finals. He led a team, a under-talented team against a star-studded Lakers team that had 4 out of the 5 starters were NBA Hall of Famers, right? But then the environment again, he was good at it there. Grit, teamwork, respect. But self-leadership is a little bit different. It can be hard. It's a different game. The crowd's gone. The cheering's gone. The scoreboard's gone. The coaches are gone. Larry Brown, right? That's when the real leadership is tested. Okay. And it starts with knowing your values. You got to know your values. You got to live your values. And you're going to need some support along the way. All right. And all 3 of those things are probably in question when it comes to Chauncey Billups and how he led down that area, okay? We all need accountability. It's so helpful to have a coach, okay? We can't see our own blind spots. That's why they're called blind spots, okay? When we have values and we have support and we have a mission, we're good. We're on that path. But when we don't have that, we start to drift. We start to compromise, right? Gambling, when it starts, is fun. It's a dopamine hit. But then you try to go a little bit more on the edge. You start making compromises. And you start crossing values, whether you know them or not. And at some point, things can get bad. Or in this case, get charged as a criminal. Okay. Let's still hard to think about it. That's where we've heard that phrase, right? Pride comes before the fall. Right. So it goes to values. We'll talk more a little bit about that. So where does trust fit in leadership? That's the second question. Where does trust fit in leadership? It's the currency of leadership. I think that's the easy answer. It's the currency, right? It's consistency over time. You build your leadership trust, but it can evaporate very quickly. Very quickly, as we see here with Chauncey Billups. I love to look at the trust equation. This comes from the book Trusted Advisor. It's very useful. I'm going to put it up here. Credibility plus reliability plus intimacy builds trust, but it gets diminished with the denominator here, self-orientation. Okay? Different things can come from self-orientation. Ego, pride, greed, right? These things collapse trust. Very useful to look at it. And we'll mention this later, right? Good idea to take a look at this, maybe write this down, think about it. Okay. See, leadership without trust is not leadership. It's just performance. And at some point, the performance is going to end. But if you build the trust, it remains. It stays there. Okay. This goes to the third question. And I think this is where it can be very useful. Is how do we avoid a scandal like this? No one wants to be a scandal. You've done years of building your image, Hall of Fame player, Finals MVP champion, current coach at the NBA level. And then all of a sudden, this is all people are going to be talking about for a long time. I think a useful tool that I would pull out of my coaching toolkit is inversion thinking. So instead of thinking, how do I build trust? The question could be, how do I completely destroy trust in my organization? Make it very clear. And then start working to make sure you don't get there, right? Things that will really destroy trust in your organization. Deception. Betrayal. Okay? Selfishness. In this case, it was deception. Deception. So it killed that trust. Okay? Once we have clarity on the things that we can destroy, then we do the work of building guardrails. Build a check engine light. You think of bowling, you think of guardrails, keep that bowling ball in the right direction. You think of a check engine light in your car so that if something's happening, before it gets worse, you're notified and you can do something about it. We all need those things, okay? We do that with systems that we build, with mentors, with accountability partners. Okay, with daily habits. We can build those to keep us safe from destroying the things that are so important to us. Okay. Because at the end of the day, we all have blind spots. Okay? We all live through our own lens. It's created through our experiences, our emotions, our biases that we have. And that's why it's so critical to have an outside observer, someone else. It's called blind spot for a reason. We can't see it. But if we have someone else, another observer that can see things, see where we can't see, it can be critical. I think about it from a basketball arena context. Okay, think of a basketball game. Think of an NBA basketball game. There are spectators in the front row, section 1, the nosebleeds, at home on TV. They all see the game. They all have a very valid perspective. But what does the coach see? He sees everything in real time because he knows the story before the game. He knows the story during the game. He knows where the player wants to go, and he knows how to help the player get there. The long-term growth plan. They see the blind spots. They bring out the best in the players. And that's what great leaders do. Okay? You find people who can see what you can't see, and you listen. All right? So, this video might be a little bit simple, but I think it goes straight to the point on Chauncey Billups and how do we avoid where he's at. So let's talk about the main takeaways. Okay, main takeaways. Here we go. Put on my whiteboard that I use for basketball. So the first one, audit your values. Do you have values? Audit them. Check in on them. Live them. Okay, use them to live through. So you make sure you don't go down this path that could, don't want to be a criminal, right? Live your values. Second one, check the trust equation, right? I had it up here earlier. it could be useful to spend some time with some self-awareness to say, where am I building trust, which is at the top, and where am I diminishing trust, which is at the bottom, okay? These are harder to build. These are very easy to sabotage your own self, okay? So check the trust equation. And the third thing, build a system for blind spots. We all have them. We all have them. Build some systems for blind spots. Mentors, coaches, accountability partners, habits, right? To be able to live through your values, okay? Leadership, it starts with self-leadership. And that's why I love this podcast, because it's focused on be a leader. Lead yourself, okay? It's built on values. It's sustained by trust and is protected through accountability. Okay. So the Chauncey Billups story, we can use it to remind ourselves as leaders, as we're getting better, all right? It's a tragic story, but we don't want to fall in that when we see ourselves in the mirror in the future, okay? We all face pressure. So when the spotlight fades and there's no more crowds, who are you as a leader? Okay. And as we finish up every time, whether you're leading yourself, you're leading others, or you're leading leaders, be a leader. My name is Daniel Pinedo. Thank you, and until next time.